Hi boys, this is Mimaw, and today I'm going to tell you about my trip to Spain. When I was about 23 years old, about 22, 23, I was living at home. I had changed jobs and I was living with my parents for the time being. And my mother saw a story in the newspaper about the Rotary Foundation giving out scholarships to study overseas, and they were looking for somebody in journalism to win their very first scholarship that they were giving to study overseas. They had never given one for journalism before, and because I had a journalism degree and I had worked for a newspaper, my mother said, "You ought to apply for that." So I did, not really thinking I'd get anything. But I was chosen by the local Rotary Club, and then they sent it to the state or district, and then on up to the national level, and I won a 1-year scholarship to study overseas in the country of my choice. I was in the first round, one of the very first ones to win the journalism award. So I chose Spain because I had taken Spanish in high school and college, and I thought that would be a good place to go. So they paid for a whole year for me to study overseas. They bought my round trip airfare to fly over to Spain. They paid. They gave me some cash to start with, and they sent me an extra month ahead of time, so that I could take classes in Madrid, which is the capital of Spain. I could take classes in Spanish to brush up on my Spanish. Well, when I got there, I had what was called a tutor. It was my sponsor. He was a Rotary member of the Rotary Club International, and he was the publisher of a big newspaper in Madrid. He was the main person over the newspaper. So he sent somebody to meet me at the airport, and it was funny because they had these little tiny cars, and they drove like maniacs, and you're packed in there like sardines in a can, shoulder to shoulder with this American girl, and some of her Spanish friends, and we went zipping through the traffic in downtown Madrid. Now, Madrid is the biggest city and the capital of the country of Spain. It's right in the middle of the country. So I spent a month living in a little boarding house there in Madrid and taking Spanish classes, and then I enrolled in college in Salamanca, which is, if Madrid's right in the middle of the country, Salamanca is down in this corner. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful old city. All the buildings downtown are very, very old, and they're kind of a yellowish brick, stone or something. But they were all the same, kind of the same basic architecture, same basic color. And so I stayed in a residence hall with other students, and I went to college there at the University of Salamanca. And because I was a Christian, I wanted to find a church I could go to, but Spain is heavily Catholic. And I was looking for a Protestant church. And so it turned out there were 2 Protestant churches in Salamanca. One was based on the Brethren denomination, and the other was a gypsy church. And I actually went to the gypsy church one time, and they were really interesting. They had a lady up at the front that would just start singing, and then they'd all fall in and start singing behind her, so she'd start going, na 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 na, start singing, and they'd all start singing behind her and clap, 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 clap. But those were the gypsies, and they were a lot of fun. But anyway, I'll tell you more about Spain later on. That's enough for today. It was a really, really good experience. So if your mother ever tells you, you ought to try for this, listen to her. This is Mimaw. See you next time.